The shuffling of the deck chairs on the Titanic. That is one of the descriptions of Don Lemon's demotion to the time slot that now performs about as poorly as you could expect on CNN, the morning show. Not that the show, at least his show, was actually pulling favorable numbers in primetime. In fact, it wasn't. I think that's the whole point of this demotion. Let's talk about the message that this sends here, because there is one, and of course all the reactions that are around it. Here we go. Primetime is the most desirable real estate in television. It's where the heavy hitters get paid a lot of money. Outside of the late night crowd, those people that are supposed to entertain you in the evening and make you laugh, well, primetime anchors are actually basically the major media top paid employees, at least for the most part, and in particular on these cable news services. So let's start there. In its time slot, Don Lemon polled roughly 619,000 viewers on average, and as he got closer to that 10 o'clock magic golden hour, it was closer to 400,000. That puts that show in 41st place in viewership. Not a good number. The canceled and now replaced New Day CNN show, that was their morning show, ranked 43rd, 2 spots lower. So this is the time slot that Don Lemon and his 2 new co-hosts will actually inhabit in the morning. There's another thing of note here. Don is now working with 2 other hosts, as I just mentioned, Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins. Again, from a headliner to a 3-ring circus. That's also a demotion. Pundits, of course, come out of the woodwork to dance on the proverbial grave. That's expected when a hyper-partisan anchor is dealt a major blow. What's not expected is when another hyper-partisan anchor or former anchor that's in the same vein, well, they call things the way they are. So to that end, extremist Keith Olbermann actually used the opportunity to promote his podcast, stating specifically, Chris Licht demotes Don Lemon to CNN's wasteland. As Jeremy from G&G might say, well, that's woke on woke crime. Watching a clip from the CNN Thursday night show that just aired a few days ago, one can't escape without having the impression that he was being demoted and he knew it, despite his own words to the contrary. In fact, quoting his response to the change, and I will quote him, "For all of those out there saying, oh, he moved me and without my, he asked me and I said yes. I could have said no. This is my show and I have a contract for this show. I decided I would take him up on that and take this journey with him. This is not someone moving me. I was not demoted. None of that. This is an opportunity. This is a promotion. This is an opportunity for me to create something around me, and I get to work with 2 great ladies, Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins, who you know." So when you parse this language, which is not difficult, the likely scenario is that Chris told Don his contract was coming up and they needed to make a change in primetime. Chris then probably said, "We'd like to keep you here at the network as part of our new emphasis at the morning show or morning programming. We're developing a show with 3 hosts and we would like you to be one of them." This is a not so subtle way for Chris to move Don one way or the other, and he was gonna move. And I admit it's speculation on my part, but it is a manner in which business is actually done at these levels on a regular basis, so it wouldn't be surprising to me, or probably anybody else in the industry. Don could have said that he had no interest in that and essentially hit the bricks at the end of his contract. That was a choice he could have made. But I would have imagined that he would have just been dismissed there and paid out his contract in full, because that's likely what I would have done. Riding this ship at CNN has been something that Chris Licht has been tasked with from the very beginning. And he was left with quite a mess by Jeff Zucker when he left with all the scandal attached to him. We'll see how he does at that. There's also some scandal-ridden past for Mr. Lemon, and that may have been part of this, because it may have violated his professional standards portion of his contract. In fact, sending a message to Jesse Smollett warning him that the police didn't believe his story was probably a massive ethical breach, to say the least. It's been called out by many ethics watch groups and other news folks alike. That, and of course, a few other things that have been brought into the light in recent years, at least regarding some of his behaviors. I wouldn't be surprised that this was, a somewhat open demotion, or not quite in plain sight. Pretty easy to read, though. For now, this gives Don a chance to change his style. And of course, he could also be checked by his two co-hosts when this show begins and picks up its run in October, or end of October, I guess, as reported. It could also just be the prelude to him leaving the network overall, one way or another. I would imagine he's not long to be there, to be honest with you. Although, really, media companies aren't looking for high-priced talent right now. They're trying to get out of those deals. But I continue. Regardless of all of this, this opens another gaping hole in CNN's primetime lineup, which has prompted a lot of questions around the industry about who and what is going to go there. Many expect that John Malone's wish is going to come true, and a hard news organization is going to emerge, jettisoning the extreme left partisanship that was entrenched there by Jeff Zucker and embodied by a bevy of anchors that have since left the building. And there's quite a list of those folks, let me tell you. And there are going to be more, but we'll get there. Licht himself has actually stated in just the last few weeks, I think maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, he said specifically, and I quote him, "I want to acknowledge that this is a time of significant change, and I know that many of you are unsettled. There will be more changes, and you might not understand it or like it." Well, I would say a lot of people are awake now and fearful of their jobs. But I ask you, what do you think? Does it seem that with the exit of so many anchors that change is indeed possible at CNN? Maybe. What actual choices do you believe that Don was offered in that discussion with Chris Licht? Do you think Chris Licht's savvy with morning shows or morning programming will actually make this one of the more competitive shows for CNN? And who else do you think will be shown the door? There's 4 or 5 questions for you. Let's try and get a conversation started in the comment section down below. Should be interesting to see your thoughts, because I'm sure you have plenty. Speaking of which, be sure to support other creators here on the platform, because they're out there sharing their thoughts too. And you can help them by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting on anything that they produce, because it'll help them defeat the algorithm, which is heavily skewed towards the mainstream media like CNN. And with that, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.